Okay, welcome everyone. So excited to see you on here. Okay, so it's been a while since we connected on a team call, and we are revamping team call quite a bit. And it seems like everyone's excited for it, which makes me excited because, we've been doing team calls for like 4 years now, which is crazy. And it's always been awesome to connect, but the people who are really coming onto this call are wanting to grow and build with Plexus, right? Like are just happy customers that we love. They take advantage of our team page and all that thing, but they're not usually going to get on a call. And so I wanted to make this time really, really valuable for everyone who's here, right? We just have 30 minutes once a week, but I want to make sure that that is a 30 minutes that's really well spent, and that equips you guys to go out and build your businesses and just have the tools and things that you need, but also like have more of an open platform, because we can learn and grow so much from each other. Like you guys are doing amazing things that I want to hear. Like we're going to be able to share what's working. Are you having objections that you don't know how to navigate that we can kind of work through together? You're going to see a lot more like open platform, open discussion, which I think will help us all grow and level up together. And as you guys are, going through the month, I may ask you like, hey, this seems to be really working for you. Would you share it on our business builder call? And so you can just come and bring that awesome stuff and share it. And so I actually asked Nicole to share tonight. So Nicole, if you're good, I'm going to let you have your time first. And then when she's finished, I have like a couple announcements and just a little more on how we're revamping team calls, but I want to make sure that I give you your full time. So I'm going to have Nicole share, and then I'll hop back in with some stuff.
Thank you. Was anyone on Power Hour today? Yeah. Okay. So a few of you. So some of this is going to be a little bit redundant, and I appreciate you all hopping on earlier today and watching, because I'm like, if everyone knows that Alita's not showing up, no one's coming, right? You know how you look forward to that Monday where she just brings it, and you just look forward to that for sure. So I did a coaching. It was a 5-day coaching with Tony Robbins, and it was very intense. Like it was all online, but it was, some days were 4 hours long, like craziness. And it all stemmed from like where we come from, a place of fear, our identity, how we show up, and our energy. And if we don't have the energy, we're not going to move. Like we're going to stay stagnant. We're going to live in fear, and we're going to have that scarcity mindset and just be that revolving door. And we don't want that. So I asked the question earlier, like, do you have something inside of you feel like is burning and brewing that you just need to do something? You're going to be on a mission and nothing's going to stop you. Like I feel that way. And speaking on Power Hour today was like a huge step for that, right? When someone asked me to be on the local news station, like everything inside of me wanted to say no out of fear. And I'm like, so I said yes right away. Like I'm going to do it, and then I'll figure out how after I've already committed, because then I can't back out, right? Yes, do it scared for sure. So what is it? Like, what is it that you feel you need to do? And if you haven't told anyone, I encourage you, tell someone, because they can hold you accountable to do those things. And if you don't have anyone to hold you accountable, you're just going to sit there and research and try to figure out a new way and a new strategy, and you're going to rack your brain and drive yourself crazy. So many of us, a lot of you are new here. So I would go out and say probably 90% of us joined Plexus for the products, right? There's like that 10% of people, that unicorn group that we all wish we could get, that joined for the business. And many times we go into it then and we only share the products because that's what we know. That's why we joined. That's where we feel comfortable. But we need other people to do this with us, right? We're building a kingdom. We're building this business that we need others who have the same vision that we do. And if you're not sharing about the products, then, or about the business, then you're not going to get business builders. You will attract what you're putting out, right? So this, I've been sharing now for sharing for almost 4 years. And it's just recently in the last, I would say 6 months or so, that I started sharing boldly about the business. And I would go to say like, and I'm not even sharing in a sense of like how I truly feel most times. It's sugar coated because we're afraid we're going to like scare those people away. Right. And we always go back to that saying, like, you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. And Alita shared the story the other night of how she didn't even coach Cheryl through how to take her products. She didn't coach her through anything. And all of a sudden, Cheryl's enrolling people. She had enrolled Megan, and Megan wasn't even in the back office for like 3 months or some crazy amount of months because she enrolled under someone else, another Cheryl Moeller. So many times we back away in, that fear mindset because we don't want to offend someone and we don't want to push them away. But really, so many people need this business. So many people are being fired from their jobs. They're looking for that community. They are looking for better health, but the option to get their products paid for is so, so awesome, right? And many of us did this in the beginning because we knew we needed to have that paid for. And could you imagine now with things just skyrocketing? So I just encourage you to do that. Let me see. So I gave another like example, like we are encouraged to do personal growth all the time. And when you don't, you start feeling horrible. You're in a negative mindset. And if you're not doing personal growth yet, you're stunting the growth of your business because it truly makes a huge difference. You just show up in a completely different way. And you can sit there and take in all of the information you want, but if you're not responding and putting the information back out there and taking action in that, you're still going to be stuck. So you don't want to be that vault of information that's not doing anything. So when you're reading, your 10th John Maxwell book and you feel that fire burning inside of you, you're like, oh my gosh, I have this great idea. And put the book down and start, whatever action you feel you need to take at that point, do it. Because when you get to that feeling, you need to take action, because who knows, in 5 minutes, when your kid interrupts you or the doorbell rings or the phone rings or whatever, and then all of a sudden that's gone. It's crazy how quickly our mindsets can shift. And then all of those negative thoughts come rolling in, and those fear stories that we tell ourselves, and all of those things. So if we don't have the energy, nothing good will come from it. And so many times throughout the training, he would just stop and everyone had to get up and dance. And like he was watching on Zoom, like just thousands of, Zooms all over, and people are dancing, and people did this with their husbands and wives and girlfriends or whatever, siblings, like whole entire families did this together, like moms, dads, kids. It was really cool to see that. And he said, when you're feeling that energy, just to take action. And for example, when you're feeling the negative energy and you snap at your kids or whatever, you feel so bad and you kind of like wallow in that. And if you go from a place of that high energy, you're going to respond to them differently as well. If they're coming up to you, you're going to say, hey, I will help you in 3 minutes because mommy has to finish this. I'm at a good part in this book, or, I need to help someone. And 9 times out of 10, the situation goes so much easier and you just feel so much better. So when you get stuck in fear and you don't take the action, you're creating that pattern, right? The pattern that we just have come to know. And a lot of times it starts when we're younger, and how our parents were and how our grandparents and teachers and all of those things. You're so impactful at such a young age, and you just retain that, and you have to really retrain your brain. And in the beginning, when people would say that, I'm like, oh, I'm fine. But no, I was not fine. I'm still not fine. And I love that Alita shared the other day, she's like, I pay for friends. I have a coach right now who follows me around and is correcting me in the areas that I still need to grow. And she also said she has a 2-week period where now she has that leadership lid where she just has a bad day. It used to be like every other or every third. And now she's recognizing it. And when she gets to that lid, she knows, you know, it's coming and she can snap out of it quicker. And for the last couple months, like I said, I've really been trying to do that. Like when I get that fear, I just got to go do something. I got to go do it. Whether at this point it's just like a stress relief thing, you go clean your house, or when you run your sweeper, like my kids leave me alone. So I do that, and I can have great, you know, thoughts at that point and think of a post or whatever. It is a great mom hack. They just scatter. It's awesome. So the common thing that I've been hearing later or like around the last few months, and the reason why Shannon and I did this IPA challenge, we wanted to go back to the basics. What was so easy and attracted us to do this business is because it was so simple. We had a 30-minute time block and then we were done, right? So once we did that, we were waking up with each other and getting this work done. We felt alive again. We had so much fun in the morning at 6 a.m., you know, on Zoom together. And then we had other people getting into action too. Not even people like that are our downline. Like it was our sideline sisters. It was all of you that we wanted to pour into and really, you know, grow with each other. But once that stopped, we kind of were like, okay, now what? Now we feel like we have to just work those 4-hour days when that's not the reality. And like, what were we doing in that time? You know, we were looking for systems because we were fearful of our growth. We are afraid of that leadership lid. So we're constantly asking ourselves, like, what do we do next? How do we do this? How do we make it better? We don't. We just take action and roll with it, especially because every customer is different, right? Like, yes, you're going to have your little system of every day today. Like, okay, I'm going to check in with this person. I'm going to do this. But when it comes to like a script of something every day, it's going to look different for each person. And I said, you know, Brittany is an amazing leader. We are so blessed to have her, and Victoria, and they just make it look easy and they just get things done, right? You guys are all about the systems and you put great ones into play, and it's just amazing how you show up. But sometimes like us scatterbrained people can't work that way. And we're learning that, but now we're able to talk to each other and share about it. So if you were like feeling that unsureness or that kind of anxiety driven part of it, then you need to talk to someone and let us know, because there are so many different ways. We all learn different. We all have a different schedule during the day as well. So with the systems and the strategies in this training, it says 3 keys to a breakthrough. Like, this is how he narrowed it down. And many times we think that the strategy is number 1, and it's actually the third part, right? The strategy comes after you have the breakthrough. So you need to focus on your state. Like, what is your state of mind? Are you in a good mindset? Are you in a negative mindset? Are you, sorry, I have nasal drainage and I'm trying not to sound like a frog. Are you creating that positive story for yourself? Or are you continually telling yourself, no one cares what I have to say. I'm not going to show up today because, you know, X, Y, and Z, so-and-so gave up too soon on their products. So you're in that negative space, right? We need to get in and do that motivational videos. We need to read those quotes, our devotionals, jump into your Bible, you know, rewatch church on Sunday. Like, Andrew and I have been going to this new church and they have a new series going on and it is so good. Like, rewatch that, because I could just sit there and cry my eyes out the whole time. Like, it's crazy, the emotion that I feel during that time. So when you're in that good state, you're creating the story. The story is what others are seeing, right? Sorry, there's the fly. The story is what others are seeing and what you're putting out for other people to see, even if it's not truly how you feel, you know. And we always say, if you're not feeling it, they're able to tell in some way, even if you think you're showing up as your best. I don't know. I'm doing my best. Or who said that, Kim? I don't know. I'm trying not to watch the chat and be like a squirrel. So you want to focus on your state first, then your story comes into play. And once you have those two things, then you figure out a strategy to move forward, right? So right now, many of you are like, I want to go silver. I want to go gold. I want to rank ruby. What is the plan? How do I get there? I need this strategy. But really, it's the frame of mind of, I'm not going to give up. I'm going to post every single day. I'm going to share my story. I'm going to share other people's story. And then that becomes, your reality and what you're doing every single day. And it becomes easier. And then when the people join you, you have these strategies that just kind of start to unfold. And then you can dig deeper into how to make it easier. But the strategy does not come first. And I know we say this all the time, but change your story, change your life. When you finally grasp those fear stories and you keep battling that every day to show up better, and not just for you, but for your husband, for your kids, for your team, and many people think like, oh, I'm here to sell these products. But in reality, like, the personal growth journey has been amazing. And everyone will say this once they finally start doing it. Like, my relationship with my husband's better. I feel, I have more patience with my kids. Not today. They've been fighting. Just you show up better in the community. You want to volunteer for more things, or, you want to participate in an extracurricular activity with your kids. Just so many things start falling into place when you come from a full cup. And doing that through the motivational videos and stuff every day is just so, so good. Let's see. And like, we all have our down days, and it's sometimes hard to just get out of that, but your upline is here to help you. Like, we definitely want to help you make it through. And one thing that stuck out to me that he said as well is, weak people create bad times. Bad times create strong people, and strong people create good times. And we've all been in that state. We've all been in each of these, right? We've had, to work on our mindset because we're in a weak state in that point, and we don't show up our best, and the bad times come, but then the growth comes after that, right? If I didn't have the childhood that I did, I would not be who I am today, nor would any of you on this call, whether it was early childhood or, something you experienced in high school or college, or even your adult life in the workforce. There's always an experience that takes you from one point to another, and it pushes you to, drive harder and just keep going, because you have a purpose and you don't want that to happen to someone else, or you want to be able to share your story to be able to relate to someone else and make them feel welcome and not alone and included. So look at your challenges each day as a worthy opponent. You want to say, all right, like, you're here, I'm going to face you head on, and we're going to get through this. And you're going to come out stronger on the other side, more knowledgeable from the books you're reading. You're going to feel so much better and more at peace once you start breaking through that and, leveling up with those leadership lids. And when you're feeling down or just you don't know what to do, turn on some music and dance. Go for a drive and turn on your favorite song or a podcast, or get on the treadmill and walk it out like Kristen. Like, look at her. She's always showing us up. No, I'm kidding. I love it, Kristen. And just do those things that make you happy. All right, let's see. I want to make sure I'm not missing it. And many times we don't experience life, we experience what we focus on. So there's so many things going on around us, but when we're focusing on that one negative thing, we're missing all of the other aspects of what's going on. And just training your brain to do this, has been really good for me. And obviously we're all a work in progress, but so many, like I'm not the same person that I was 4 years ago. Like the transformation, to watch just all of you and all of us grow together and take that next step has really been truly amazing. And once you get to that point and you're like, should I pay for the, $24 training with Emily Gibson, or should I hop on Power Hour? Should I, miss out on that 1 hour of family time on a Sunday night to have a lead to pour into us? Yes. The answer is yes. Okay. Find a way, make it happen, because you will feel and show up so much better. There was, have any of you heard of Jamie Kern Lima? She was on the Tony Robbins with us. She ended up speaking, and I loved what a couple of things that she had to say. And I shared this with, I think, Steph one day. And when you have those fear stories, or someone tells you no, or, you don't know how or why you're showing up, and all those things just start flooding in your head, and you're like, no, you need to silence it. Think of these things as not rejections or failures. Think of them as, like, just flip the script. I'm victorious because I'm the brave one willing to go for it. So I'm brave enough to go for it. That's why I'm victorious. Even if you fail forward, do it again the next time. Like, you can do it again better. I'm in a learning season, or, every conversation is just a seed planted. When, you see all these people enrolling and you're like, why isn't this me? Because you're in a learning season. You have to be able to take in all of, the motivation and the books and all of that knowledge in order to really help people in the next season. And this is one that I really enjoyed. I hid your value from them because they're not a part of your story. How many times have you been so sad when someone doesn't join you and they join, like, someone or like another team that's in the local area or something like that, and you're crushed, right? And when she said that, I was like, oh my gosh, this resonates with me so much. I hid your value from them because I know they're not a part of your story. So good. And then she also said, rejection is God's protection. Those people that you're like, oh, I wish they would just join. But then looking back now, I was thinking of this on the drive to school with my daughter. There was someone that I wanted so badly. I'm like, oh, they would benefit from these products so much. And now that I know them more, I'm like, they would have drained me, right? They would have been so overwhelming. I probably would have wanted to run for the hills, right? So rejection is God's protection. He's protecting your mindset. He's protecting your energy. And, he does have a plan for us in this. And so many times we get stuck, and you just need to go back to that. Like, hey, God, who am I here to help today? Who are you going to bless me with and let me share these products? Like, who are you going to put on my heart to call up and, share this blessing with? And it will happen. Like, it always does. And even when you feel like there's no one left to help or to share, someone's like, oh, I saw your post. My son was just diagnosed with Crohn's. And you're like, okay, like, here's the next one. So do not give up. So the best thing is we can change and level up. We can change our mindset. We can change our habits. And when we do that, we change our identity. It's not like who we are right now, but who we want to be in the future. And you have to start showing up as that person. Start showing up as the Diamond Kim and Kristen and Alicia and Shannon and Audrey and, like, everyone on this call. Start showing up as that person. And whenever anyone told me that, I'm like, I don't even know what you mean. This is what it is. This is what it looks like. Getting on your team call and sharing the little bit of knowledge that you have, getting on Power Hour and doing it scared, and, just doing all of those things that you would normally say no to grow yourself to get to that next level. So that's it.
So good. Thank you, Nicole. I know you're trying to ignore the chat, but everyone got so much value out of that. So thank you so much for sharing. And in this last couple minutes, I think what I was going to share with you guys is like perfectly, just goes perfectly with what Nicole said, because I wanted to give you guys kind of like, okay, what are we going to be talking about? Like, if these are business builder calls, like what is the focus? And I really want to help you guys get back to the basics of building your business, so that whether you are Emerald or you have 0 people on your team and you're just starting, that this will be valuable for you. And really, it's these basic things that are so essential, and yet we get away from them all the time, right? And we make it really complicated. Like Nicole was saying, like all these systems and all this crazy stuff, but like there are some basic things that are what you need in your business. And they are recruitment, retention, duplication, and leadership development. And if you think about it as like a house with 4 columns holding it up, those are the pillars. It's recruitment, retention, duplication, and leadership development. I'm going to somehow make a cute graphic of this so that we can keep our eyes on it, because those 4 things have to be happening, but they all sit on a foundation of mindset. So think of mindset as just being like that bedrock foundation underneath. So if you don't have that, like if you don't have the foundation, like the house is crumbling. Like it doesn't matter how rock star you are recruiting, or if you have great retention systems in place, or if you are a great leader, if your mindset is trash, the whole house is going down. Okay. So those are the things we're going to be talking about. So Nicole is just like hitting that home. Like you have to start with your mindset. Like, how are you thinking about what you're doing? How are you feeling about what you're doing? And if you're operating from a really bad place, you have to address that first before you go try to recruit and retain and duplicate and all those things. But just real quick, thinking about those 4 pillars of our business, you can probably see where you are struggling. So let me just break it down for you. Like if you have that first pillar of recruitment, or let's say you don't have any of them. If you're not recruiting, you don't have a team, right? So your business hasn't really gotten off the ground yet. And that's step 1. We have to start by bringing people in, sharing the opportunity. But if we recruit and we don't retain, you may hit some bonuses and rank ups, but your points really quickly diminish, right? Like you don't hold your rank, and the effort is 100% on you. You feel like you're working constantly, but your business is not growing. If you recruit and retain, but don't duplicate, you can grow to a certain point, but you get stuck. Okay. The effort is 100% on you because you're not teaching it down. And I feel like a lot of us get stuck right there. We're recruiting, we're retaining, we're loving on our customers, but we're not duplicating. So we're not really seeing growth. If we do all 3, recruit, retain, duplicate, you'll see growth. But again, it's all on you. You have to work so hard to keep your business where it's at, because you're not developing leaders. But it's when we're working all 4 of those areas, we're recruiting, we're retaining, we're duplicating, and we're developing leaders, that is where you see massive growth. And that's where I want all of you guys to be, because it's not 100% your effort only, right? Like you can actually take some time off and your team will still grow, because you're empowering people on your team to grow and lead. So I know we're not all there yet. I know I'm definitely not there yet. And we all have an area where it's like, okay, that pillar is weak. I really need to focus in on that. Maybe you're like a rock star recruiter, but you can't retain, right? So it's like, okay, focus on that. And so I want to encourage you guys, like, this is the stuff we're going to be talking about. I'll go into this more in depth next week. We'll talk more specifically about each area, but that foundational, mindset has to be there. If you don't have it, your house is collapsing. So make sure you're doing something to fill your cup. Like Nicole said, she's going to be our Tony Robbins on this team. Like she just is so inspirational. So find something to like energize you the way Nicole feels energized right now, right? Like it did awesome things for your mindset to just have that pouring into you. And we want to be brilliant at the basics, right? Like that is our, coming all the way down from the CEO of Plexus, he says, we want to be brilliant at the basics. These are the basic things: retention, recruitment, duplication, leadership development. So my goal for all of us is that we can share like what you're brilliant in these things and learn and grow from each other. Okay. So my challenge for you is just over this next week, write those 4 things down. And again, I'll send them out. But just take a look at each one and say, okay, where am I doing really well? Where do I need to spend some time? Where do I need to spend some attention and make that pillar stronger? Because all of us have 1 or more weak areas that need addressing. And every month now I'm sitting down, I'm looking at those 4 pillars and making a plan for, okay, how am I working in each area? because that's really how you grow. Okay. I know we're a little bit over time, but last real quick announcement is that a lot of you were in a consistency chat that we had. We are just pulling all of that into our 2023 chat. So I think everyone in here is in our 2023 Momentum Maker group chat. That's going to be our resource for all this team call stuff, for all our business stuff, all our consistency stuff, rather than having like a lot of chats floating out. We're just like sucking it all in to one thing so that you can delete one chat, right? Jimmy's like, yay, to just make sure we're not duplicating and having things all over the place. Also, just want to recognize that consistency looks different for different people and in different seasons, right? So it is not a competition. And I know in a business like this, where everything's very visible, like we know who is what rank and all the things, it can be really hard not to compare. And I want to encourage you, as we're doing this, building our businesses together, you are on a different journey than anyone else here. Let's all grow together and encourage each other and cheer each other on. Do not get stuck in comparison. Okay. Like Nicole said, your journey is going to be different from other people's. The people that are coming into your life are the people God has for you. It's going to be different than someone else. So as we're doing this and cheering each other on, let's just like keep it positive, keep it encouraging. Don't get stuck in comparison. And I really feel like we are just going to grow so much over the next couple months together. So I will stop there because I could go on all night, but thank you so much, Nicole. You were amazing. And thank you guys so much for being on. I can't wait to see you next week. Have a great night.